friends, and welcome back to AmandaMuse. I was recently tagged by Have You Seen 10? I will link her channel below. And I haven't been tagged in something in a very long time. Are tags not a thing anymore? Like, when did that change? First question, what is your home country? I am Canadian, born and raised in the suburbs of Montreal in Quebec. Second question is asking where I currently live, and I'm actually in Canada right now. I have been back for the past 18 months or something like that. But I was living in Malaysia for 4.5 years with my husband, and we had both of our children there. The easiest part in adjusting to the new country was probably the weather in a way, because it was permanently summer. So Malaysia is not far from the equator. It's on the same landmass as Thailand. So if you can imagine beautiful beaches and hot weather. So it had its struggles, but it was quite easy. Obviously it had its difficulties, being that you were always hot and always seeking air conditioning. That said, it was really easy to have one wardrobe, your summer wardrobe, your summer shoes. It made life, it was just like, you know, you just pick up your bag and leave the house, where in the winter in Canada, that's not so easy. The hardest part of adjusting to my new country, initially when I first got there, was just feeling like I was all alone. It was really hard for me to meet people at first. Because when we first moved there, we went without children. It's like we didn't fit into a category. We weren't, you know, teachers, like doing our thing. I wasn't working, so I didn't meet anybody in a work environment. I wasn't a single person traveling and partying, and I didn't have any kids. So it's like you didn't fit into the category, and I found it really hard to meet people, to be perfectly honest. But then once I had Esme, it was like, I remember I met this woman, Liza, I will never forget her. She probably doesn't realize the impact she had on me, but she invited me to my very first baby group. Esme was 3 weeks old. I remember because I was in this like haze of newborn land with breastfeeding struggles and all of that. And yeah, she invited me to this play group, and I felt like a fish out of water, because I felt like I hadn't been social in so long that I was super awkward, which might seem really weird if you've been following me on YouTube for a while now, but honestly, I was like really just struggling with insecurities as a new mom. I think like a lot of us do, but she introduced me to like a ton of people, and it was the greatest thing ever, because by the time I left Malaysia, I was the one bringing people into this play group, and I was like the last man standing from the original play group. So full circle, baby. That's all I gotta say. The moment I felt like I finally belonged plays off of definitely like the friendships that I've made based around our kids. So I think it's when, you know, I started inviting people to play groups and I started hosting. So for sure, once I was pregnant with Jack, it was just like a whole different ball game. I was far more confident in myself as a woman, as a mother, and I just felt like, yeah, I've got this. I know where I live. I know where to shop. You know, the restaurants you like to eat. All those things like you would experience, I think, in any new city. It doesn't need to be in a country on the other side of the earth. But yeah, once I started hosting my own play groups and getting people and inviting people, it changed the landscape for me dramatically. The major difference between Malaysia and Canada is certainly the weather. In Canada, we get summer, which is right now, by the way, for a very, very short time. I want to say 3 months, and even that might be pushing it, because sometimes it takes a while for summer to start, like it snowed in mid-May here in Canada. That's insane. And then it gets cool quite quick, right? So we do have, you know, a variety of seasons here, and that obviously is not the case in Malaysia. It's like hot, hot, and hotter, and you do get wet and dry season and things like that, but certainly the weather for sure. One thing I said yes to in Malaysia that maybe I wouldn't say yes to in Canada, that's a tricky one. I think probably just being super, super social. The biggest life skill that I'm pretty sure I acquired while living there was the ability to just, when you meet a person, if you feel that connection, to like scoop them up, get their phone number, become instant and fast friends. And I really don't think that that's a bad thing. I can't say everybody is going to be the way that I'm about to say, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of people experience loneliness, and you can feel very anonymous in a big city, in a small city. If you tend to live a bit more of an isolated life, it can become very lonely. And that's the one thing that I realized, if I was gonna make it in Malaysia, I needed to start living my true, authentic life. And for me, that is being super social. I do love my downtime, don't get me wrong, but I need friendships. I need to have female companions that I can share my life with and support each other. And I realized I needed that. And so I started to seek it out, and I've made lifelong friends from Malaysia that I wish I could just like beam me up, Scotty, transport me there so I could kiss them and hug them, because it's just, you don't make friends like that so quick in your home country. Like, people kind of think you're weird when you approach them in the grocery store and ask for their number. It's a little odd. I still do it, mind you, but it can come across as a little strange. I think my one regret really relates to what I was saying before about making friends, is that I really closed myself off. When we first got to Malaysia, we spent a little bit of time like in KL, in a city, Subang Jaya, was it Subang? Yeah, Subang Jaya in KL. It's like a little, anyway, we were there. And then from there, we went and moved to Penang. But my husband was working a lot, so I found myself alone a lot of the time, and I pretty much like befriended the people at Starbucks, and they knew my name, and they were the sweetest people ever. But that's kind of like, I didn't really have a support group, and I regret that. I wish I had found my people sooner. I even remember clearly going to this, there was, most of the time in foreign countries, they will have expat women's groups and just expat groups in general. But I went to the expat women's group, but because I didn't have a kid and I felt really insecure, I didn't know how to like sell myself properly, basically as a friend to other women, and I struggled with that. And I actually remember meeting one of my good friends and dear friends now at this thing, and she was so sweet, and she was like, hey, give me your email and let's get together. And she had her first baby with her, but I felt so awkward and I didn't know how to like engage, and I didn't. And so I missed out on a whole year of friendship with this awesome human. It's Laurel, by the way, if she's watching this. But yeah, I missed out on it, and I regret that, because it's like, damn it, I should have just been like, yeah, I'm awesome and you want to be friends with me because I have something to offer. I think it's fairly common that we downplay ourselves as people, and we don't realize how great we are and how much we can offer in a friend, and you know, just as a human being in general. And so it's like, don't be so insecure, Amanda. Like, God, I just want to shake that little scared Canadian in Malaysia for the first time, you know? So one regret. Also, I didn't try durian. Biggest regret. See my other Q&A that I put out about that. So sad. Would I move again to another country? Heck yes. As much as my father's like, Amanda, where are you moving next? He's you know, doesn't ask me as much anymore because we've bought a house and we're pretty, you know, settled. And Esme will be going to school, like all the things that keep you rooted. But absolutely, I certainly feel like my life as an expat has not come to an end. I feel like it might be the greatest experience of my life. Every time I talk about my experience there, I feel like I could burst into tears because it was so life-changing, so dramatically shifted my path on this earth. Perhaps I would have eventually become a mother and you know, fulfilled certain roles, but I definitely would have had a different outlook. And I think if you are given the opportunity to leave your country, to leave your city and do something different, even if it's just moving to a city in another state, in another province, I would highly encourage you to do it, because there are only experiences to be gained, and you could have your best friend, your soulmate living in that city, and you might never know if you don't go out there and go meet them, because you know, I feel like I have met my soulmates, my people in Malaysia, and I'm so grateful for that experience. So yes, I would do it again. It would probably be harder to go with my kids now that they've experienced different things, but I do know from experience that any type of big life transition, change, especially when you have young kids, however the parents go about it, how their attitude is toward it, directly affects how your children experience it. So even though change is difficult and hard and all of those things, in any capacity, whether it be like a life relationship change or a city change or house moving or whatever, downsizing, upgrading, all of those things, if you can maintain a level head about it as a parent, your kids will be pretty good. They will probably experience some side effects because change affects us all, but I'd say overall, there's only good things to be gained from it. So maybe one day. I don't know where I'd go though, but it's so exciting to think about. And the last thing, one tip or advice is, I probably touched on it a little bit in this video, but try not to let your insecurities take over. So try not to be too fearful of the new place, because people more often than not just want to share, you know, the great things about their country. I think at the root of it, when I think about all the things I've just spoken about in this tag, is don't let fear decide your life path. And I think that's probably pretty valuable for a lot of different areas of life. But I think, you know, a lot of people maybe wouldn't have chosen to go live there because they're afraid of what they see on the news, or they think certain things about a certain religion. Like, we can be very fearful of a lot. Sometimes you gotta take a chance, and sometimes the scariest stuff that you choose to do is what affects you the most and changes you as a person and could be your greatest experience of your life. So yeah, you think I liked it? Couldn't you tell? Thanks so much to 10 Tennessee. I always have trouble with people's nicknames. If I don't know you, sorry, it's awkward for me. But thank you so much to tagging me. She is a Canadian living in England at the moment. And yeah, I love it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, stick around. I'm gonna leave some links below to other Q&As that I've done about Malaysia if you're interested. And yeah, that's the scoop, you guys, so keep it real. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.